The silver-hulled scout ship of the Galactic Federation hovered silently over Earth's atmosphere. Commander Take peered through the observation deck at the blue-green planet below, his elongated fingers tapping against the control panel. Another unremarkable world, he sighed, his four eyes blinking in sequence. Begin standard cataloging procedure. Chief Biologist Han nodded, her scaled skin reflecting the blue glow of the instruments. Already underway, Commander. Take turned away from the viewport. The Federation had tasked them with mapping this sector, cataloging any wildlife worth adding to the Great Galactic Archive. So far, this mission had yielded little of interest, mostly gas giants and lifeless rocks. This blue planet was their first discovery with complex life forms. Preliminary scans show diverse ecosystems, Han reported. Aquatic, aerial, and land-based life forms. Multiple climate zones. Any signs of advanced civilization? Take asked without much hope. Some rudimentary structures and technology use. Nothing indicating space travel capabilities. They appear to be in a pre-interstellar development phase. Take nodded. Perfect for our collection purposes. Begin detailed ecosystem analysis. For weeks, the Federation scientists worked tirelessly. They deployed small, camouflaged drones to observe Earth's creatures in their natural habitats. The data streamed back to the ship, where Han and her team compiled it into comprehensive reports. In the ship's main laboratory, Han gathered her team for a review session. The walls displayed footage from various Earth ecosystems: lions stalking prey in the savannah, sharks cutting through ocean waters, eagles diving from great heights. These are their apex predators? Han laughed, pointing to the lion footage. Look at this creature. It sleeps 20 hours a day. And when it does hunt, it tires after a short chase. Junior scientist June leaned forward, watching the footage with curiosity. They have interesting social structures, though. The lions hunt in coordinated groups. Basic pack tactics, Han dismissed. Nothing like the hive-mind predators of the Orion system. She switched to footage of a great white shark. This aquatic predator is slightly more impressive, but still primitive. No natural armor, limited sensory capabilities beyond scent detection. The birds show some intelligence, offered another scientist, GI. Yes, but compare them to the hunting raptors of Centauri Prime, Han replied. These creatures are evolutionary dead ends. They've reached their potential and stopped. Take entered the laboratory, his tall frame commanding immediate attention. What's your assessment, Chief Biologist? Sir, Earth's wildlife is remarkably unimpressive. Their predators lack the advanced adaptations we've seen in similar ecological niches on other worlds. No significant natural armor, limited venom delivery systems, rudimentary hunting strategies. Take's upper eyes narrowed. Not worth our time? Oh, I wouldn't say that, Han replied with an amused tone. They would make excellent additions to our evolutionary oddities collection. The Council always enjoys examples of divergent evolutionary paths. June looked up from his console. Should we include them in the Galactic Biodiversity Archive anyway? Of course, Han replied with a dismissive wave. They'll make an excellent addition to the evolutionary oddities section. Begin preparations for specimen collection. Take nodded his approval. Select representative specimens from each major ecosystem. Nothing too dangerous, this sounds like it will be an easy collection mission. I recommend we take examples of their supposed apex predators, Han suggested. The visitors to the archive will be amused by what this planet considers dangerous. Approved, Take said. Begin transmission of your findings to headquarters. They'll want to prepare proper exhibition spaces. The communications officer nodded and began sending the compiled data, complete with Han's mocking commentary about Earth's soft predators. Unknown to the alien scientists, their transmission security protocols had one significant flaw: they hadn't accounted for Earth's complex web of military satellites. One such satellite, designed to intercept and decode foreign communications, caught the alien transmission. In a military intelligence center deep beneath Seoul, Lieutenant Suji stared at her screen in disbelief. The translation program had finally processed enough of the alien language to provide rough translations. They're talking about Earth animals, she whispered to herself. They're studying us. As more translations appeared on her screen, her eyes widened. Collection. Specimens. Exhibition. The implications were clear. Sir, she called to Colonel Park, who was reviewing reports at a nearby desk. You need to see this immediately. The colonel approached, his expression changing from irritation to shock as he scanned the translations. Are you certain this is accurate? He asked quietly. The translation confidence is high, sir. And the signal, it's coming from just beyond our atmosphere. Colonel Park's jaw tightened. They don't even consider us worthy of contact. They're treating Earth like a wildlife preserve. Sir, what should we do? First, we verify. Then we alert the international coalition. And then, he said, his voice hardening, we prepare to show these aliens what Earth's true apex predator is capable of. 3 months later, the massive Federation zoo ship Exemplar entered Earth's orbit. It dwarfed the scout vessel that had first discovered the planet. The Exemplar stretched 5 kilometers from bow to stern, its hull dotted with observation domes and specialized habitat sections. In the preparation bay, Chief Biologist Han supervised the final touches on the Earth exhibits. Technicians scurried about, adjusting environmental controls and reinforcing containment fields. The enclosure walls need only be 3 meters high for the large felines, Han instructed as technicians prepared the habitats. Their jumping capabilities are limited, and they lack problem-solving intelligence. A young technician named Du looked up from his control panel. Are you certain, Chief? The data shows occasional jumps of nearly that height. Han flicked her hand dismissively. Those are outlier cases. Besides, we'll keep them well fed. They only exhibit their meager hunting abilities when hungry. Du nodded and returned to his work, though he added an extra half-meter to the wall height when Han turned away. In another section of the ship, engineers created a replica of Earth's ocean environments. A large tank designated for the specimens of Earth's sharks stood empty, waiting to be filled. The shark enclosure needs special reinforcement, Han noted. Though their teeth are primitive, they can still damage standard materials. She turned to her assistant. Have you prepared the eagle habitat? Remember to include a variety of perching heights. Yes, Chief. Though I'm curious why we're collecting such uninspired creatures. Han smiled. The Council enjoys comparing evolutionary paths. Earth's predators took a particularly unsuccessful route. They'll be perfect examples of what happens when a planet's apex hunters fail to develop proper advantages. On the command deck, Commander Take reviewed the invitation list with satisfaction. Representatives from 17 systems would attend the exhibition. Notable scientists, wealthy collectors, and Federation officials had all expressed interest in the Earth specimens. Earth's collection will finally complete our primitive worlds gallery, Take said to his first officer. The Council is particularly interested in the contrast between Earth's predators and those from Nexus 9. A striking comparison indeed, the officer replied. The bone crushers of Nexus 9 make Earth's predators look like toys. Take nodded. Schedule the collection teams for deployment at local nightfall. Let's begin with the African region. Meanwhile, on Earth, in a fortified underground facility beneath a mountain, Colonel Park addressed a room of grim-faced soldiers. The room was filled with elite forces from across the globe. They sat in perfect formation, their faces betraying no emotion despite the extraordinary circumstances. 3 months ago, we intercepted alien communications, Park began. Initial skepticism gave way to certainty when our deep space monitoring stations detected their vessels entering our solar system. He pressed a button on his remote, and a holographic projection of the Exemplar appeared above the center of the room. This is their ship, he continued. Based on our analysis of their communications, they consider Earth a primitive wildlife preserve. They've shown no interest in diplomatic contact. The colonel's face hardened. Instead, they plan to collect what they call specimens of our planet's wildlife for display in some sort of interstellar zoo. Murmurs spread through the room before quickly falling silent. "These are our targets," Park said, highlighting different sections of the ship. "They've taken our wildlife without permission and plan to display them as curiosities. Our mission is extraction and demonstration of capability." A tall, lean man in the front row raised his hand slightly. Colonel Park nodded to him. "Captain Day, your assessment?" Captain Day stood, his movements fluid and economical. "Their communications reveal a critical weakness, sir. They don't consider humans to be apex predators. They've classified us as tool users of moderate interest and have focused their security protocols on containing animals, not intelligent opponents." He pointed to the hologram. "Their ship is advanced, but their blind spot regarding humans gives us an advantage. My team can exploit this oversight." "Your confidence is noted, Captain," Park said. "What about your team's readiness?" "My team is ready, sir. The best from Korea, America, Britain, Russia, and Israel. We've been training with the limited data we have on their technology." On the screen behind Park, footage played of the Special Forces team practicing infiltration techniques on mock-ups of what they believed alien technology might look like. "Our plan is simple," Day continued. "We allow them to collect their specimens. Their communications indicate they'll bring their ship lower into orbit for a collection period. Once they've gathered what they want, we'll deploy during their exhibition opening, when security will be focused on managing visitors, not detecting infiltrators." Colonel Park nodded. "The international coalition has authorized full tactical discretion. Our objective is clear: demonstrate humanity's capabilities and secure the release of Earth's wildlife. And if they resist," someone asked from the back. "Then they learn why humans are Earth's true apex predators," Park replied coldly. "We've survived and thrived on a planet full of dangers because we're smarter, more adaptable, and more ruthless when necessary than any other species." "Good," Colonel Park concluded, looking directly at Captain Day. "Because we're about to teach these aliens what a real apex predator looks like." The exhibition opening was in full swing. The grand gallery of the exemplar buzzed with visitors from across the galaxy. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved between the Earth displays, their voices a mix of different languages as they commented on the specimens. Most reactions followed a similar pattern: initial curiosity followed by dismissal or amusement. Earth's animals, so fearsome in their own habitats, looked small and unimpressive next to the galaxy's more evolved predators. A tour guide named Rill, with blue-tinted skin and 4 arms, led a group of important-looking dignitaries through the shark exhibit. The great white shark swam lazily in its massive tank, occasionally approaching the glass before turning away. "Notice the shark's limited awareness," Rill explained to the group. "Despite being this planet's oldest predator lineage, they never developed higher reasoning. They're basically swimming mouths with instincts." The dignitaries nodded, making notes on their data pads. "Now, if you'll follow me to the big cat exhibit," Rill continued, "you'll see even more examples of evolutionary dead ends." What no one noticed was the slight shimmer in the air near the ventilation duct above them. There, hidden by advanced cloaking technology borrowed from their own government's experimental projects, Captain Day and Sergeant Min lay perfectly still, watching everything below. Day's eyes narrowed as he heard the aliens mock Earth's wildlife. Beside him, Min's face remained expressionless, though his fingers tightened slightly on his customized toolkit. 5 other team members had already infiltrated different sections of the ship. They had slipped aboard during the specimen collection phase, hiding in equipment crates and using the aliens' own technology against them. "Security patterns mapped," came Lieutenant Bin's voice through their earpieces. "They're rotating guards every 20 minutes. Their systems are advanced but predictable." Captain Day touched his throat mic. "Status report, all teams." The responses came in quick succession. Team Alpha in position near primary control systems. Team Beta at secondary habitat controls. Team Gamma accessing communication hub. Captain Day nodded, satisfied. "Begin Phase 2. Across the ship, the human team moved with precision. Their months of training had prepared them well. The aliens had studied Earth's wildlife extensively, documenting every tooth and claw, every hunting pattern and territorial display. But they had barely acknowledged humans, categorizing them as tool users of moderate interest. They had completely overlooked humanity's greatest weapon, adaptive intelligence. This oversight became clear when the ship's internal sensors began failing systematically. First, the motion detectors in Section 4 went offline. Then temperature sensors in Section 7 showed sudden, impossible readings. Security cameras in 3 different areas began looping innocuous footage while the team moved through restricted areas. In the command center, Commander Take was enjoying a drink with the Federation Science Minister when the first alarm blared. "What is that?" the minister asked, startled. Take frowned, setting down his glass. "Status report." Chief Security Officer Jay rushed to his console, his fingers flying across the controls. "We have multiple system failures across the ship, Commander. Environmental controls in Section 4 are resetting. Habitat security in Sections 7 and 12 showing unauthorized access attempts. Technical malfunction?" Take suggested, not wanting to alarm his important guest. Jay shook his head. "No, sir. The patterns are too specific." "Intruders? Intruders?" Commander Take shouted, now truly concerned. "How is this possible? We're in orbit. Our shields are active." The science minister stepped back, alarmed. "Could it be one of the specimens?" "Impossible," Take said. "They're all contained in." His voice trailed off as a new alarm joined the chorus. On the main screen, security footage showed a shadow moving with purpose down a restricted corridor. The figure was bipedal, moving with a fluid grace that spoke of training and intent. "What is that?" the minister whispered. Chief Security Officer Jay frowned at his console. "Unknown entities are accessing our systems. They're using improvised tools and, is that one of their primitive communication devices repurposed to decode our protocols?" He enlarged the image, showing a human figure attaching a small device to a security panel. The device glowed briefly, and the panel's lights changed from red to green. That's a human," biologist Han said, having rushed to the command center when the alarm sounded. "But how did they get aboard? And how are they bypassing our security?" More footage appeared, humans moving in perfect coordination, using the ship's own systems against it. One was redirecting surveillance cameras. Another had accessed an environmental control panel and was adjusting atmosphere levels in specific areas. "Impossible," Han whispered, watching security footage of shadows moving with tactical precision. "These can't be the same species we observed. These are calculating. Strategic." In the ventilation shaft, Captain Day smiled coldly as he watched the confusion below. "They never bothered to study us," he whispered to Min. "They looked at our teeth and claws and decided we weren't dangerous." Min nodded, checking his tactical display. "Their mistake." Captain Day touched his communicator again. "All teams, proceed to Phase 3. Let's show these aliens what Earth's true apex predator can do." On screens throughout the ship, the aliens watched in growing horror as humans systematically took control of their advanced vessel, using nothing more than improvised tools and a deep understanding of systems they should have had no knowledge of. In the exhibition hall, a dignitary turned to Rill with new understanding dawning on his face. "You collected the wrong predators, didn't you?" Captain Day moved silently through the service corridors of the Exemplar. His team had mapped the entire ship's layout from the security systems they had hacked. The aliens never expected anyone to access their network, especially not the primitive tool users from Earth. He reached the central habitat control room, a circular chamber filled with glowing panels and holographic displays. 2 alien technicians worked at the controls, completely unaware of his presence thanks to the adaptive camouflage suit he wore. With practiced precision, Captain Day fired 2 tranquilizer darts. The aliens slumped over their consoles without making a sound. He quickly secured them with restraints and took their place at the main control panel. "In position," he reported through his comm device. Back on Earth, Colonel Park sat in the command center, surrounded by screens showing feeds from tiny cameras the team had planted throughout the alien vessel. He watched Captain Day's progress with satisfaction. "Execute," Colonel Park commanded, his voice calm but firm. Captain Day's fingers flew across the alien controls. The translation software they had developed over the past months made the alien symbols readable. With a few commands, the habitat barriers began retracting. Not completely, the team had no desire to harm the alien civilians, but enough to demonstrate capability. In the shark habitat, a leopard shark suddenly found itself with access to a connecting pool that had been closed off before. The pool extended into a viewing area where alien visitors had gathered. They scrambled back in alarm as the creature explored its expanded territory, swimming lazily into the area they had thought was safe. Security breach in Habitats 3, 7, and 12. Officer J shouted in the command center. His fingers frantically worked the controls, trying to override the commands. Commander Take rushed to the main view screen, his 4 eyes wide with shock. The screen showed a lion exhibit where the big cat had been peacefully sleeping on a rock. Now, it stood alert, watching as a section of its enclosure wall lowered slightly. With a powerful leap, the lion jumped onto a ledge the aliens had thought was safely out of reach. Visitors gasped and moved back as the lion surveyed them from its new perch. How did it calculate that jump trajectory? Take asked in disbelief. The biologists assured me its jumping capability was limited to 2 meters. Officer J shook his head. Sir, it's not just the lion. Look. On other screens, more Earth animals were testing the new limits of their habitats. A eagle soared into a higher section of its enclosure that had been opened. A tiger paced along a newly accessible pathway. Lock down all habitats immediately. Take ordered. I'm trying, sir, Jay responded, his voice rising in pitch. But something is blocking our commands. The system isn't responding. More alarms blared. The ship's atmospheric controls began cycling unpredictably between habitat zones. Temperature, humidity, and air pressure shifted in patterns that seemed random at first. What's happening? The science minister demanded. Biologist Han had been studying the patterns on her datapad. Her eyes widened as she realized what was happening. They're not just releasing the animals, Han said, watching the patterns with growing understanding. They're creating pathways, herding behaviors, working with the Earth creatures. What are you talking about? Take snapped. Look at the pattern, Han explained, pointing to her screen. The atmospheric changes are uncomfortable but not harmful. They're guiding the animals away from visitor areas while still allowing them to be seen. It's a controlled demonstration. As if to confirm her words, the lights in the exhibition halls dimmed slightly, then brightened again in a path leading visitors toward safe observation areas. The animals moved about in their expanded territories but showed no aggression toward the alien visitors. This is deliberate, Han whispered. Someone is controlling this entire situation. On the observation deck, the highest point of the exhibition area, a delegation of Federation officials had gathered to discuss the security breach. They spoke in hushed, worried tones about the failure of their containment systems. From behind a decorative display, Captain Day emerged silently. His camouflage suit deactivated, revealing his human form. The officials fell silent, staring at him with a mixture of fear and fascination. Allow me to introduce myself, he said calmly. Human. Earth's apex predator. We've taken control of your vessel. One of the officials, taller than the others with distinctive gold markings, stepped forward. How is this possible? You're just. He trailed off, suddenly understanding the grave error they had made. Just what? Captain Day asked, his voice dangerously soft. Tool users of moderate interest? Primitive beings not worth studying? He gestured to the viewing windows, where the Earth animals moved about in their newly expanded territories, showing intelligence and capabilities the aliens had dismissed. You studied our teeth, our claws, our physical abilities, Captain Day continued. But you never bothered to study our minds. You never asked what allowed a physically unimpressive species to become the dominant force on a planet filled with faster, stronger creatures. From his position, they could see the entire exhibition hall. Humans from his team had appeared at strategic points throughout the ship, each controlling a section of systems. The alien visitors were being calmly directed to safe areas while Earth's wildlife demonstrated their true capabilities under human guidance. "We didn't come to harm you," Captain Day said to the officials. "We came to educate you. Now, shall we discuss the terms of returning our planet's wildlife?" 3 days after the humans took control of the exemplar, the Federation Council convened an emergency session. The Grand Council chamber was filled to capacity. Representatives from all 17 systems sat in tiered seating, their faces showing a mix of fear, curiosity, and respect. On the main view screen, Colonel Park stood tall and proud. Captain Day and officials from Earth's major nations flanked him. The humans wore formal military attire, presenting a united front. "Your unauthorized collection of Earth specimens constitutes an act of ecological interference," Colonel Park stated firmly. His voice carried through the chamber without shouting. "However, we are prepared to establish diplomatic relations if certain conditions are met." Federation Chair Moon, an elegant figure with silvery skin and 6 fingers on each hand, leaned forward at the central podium. Her normal calm was visibly shaken. "You controlled our most advanced vessel with primitive technology," she said, her translator conveying her disbelief. "We adapted," Captain Day replied simply. "That's what makes humans apex predators. Not claws or strength, but this." He tapped his temple. "Our minds are our weapons." Chair Moon looked at her fellow council members, who nodded in silent agreement. "The Federation acknowledges its error in judgment," she said. "What are your terms?" Colonel Park presented a simple list. All Earth specimens would be returned immediately. Earth would join the Galactic Federation as a full member, not as a study subject. Federation ships would request permission before entering Earth's solar system. Earth would receive access to basic Federation technical knowledge as a gesture of goodwill. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Some representatives argued that giving technology to humans might be dangerous. Others pointed out that humans had already proven they could take Federation technology if they wanted to. "They took control of our most advanced vessel with improvised tools," a representative from Proxima System noted. "Imagine what they could do with actual resources." "Precisely why we should keep them close as allies," another council member replied. After 2 hours of debate, the agreement was signed. Chair Moon pressed her 6 fingers into the authentication panel, and Colonel Park did the same. "Welcome to the Galactic Federation," Chair Moon said formally. "Earth joins as our newest member world." Back on the exemplar, preparations began for returning Earth's wildlife. The specimens were carefully loaded into transport vessels. Biologist Han personally supervised the process, making sure each creature was treated with proper respect. As the alien delegation prepared to depart, Biologist Han approached Captain Day, who was overseeing the final transfer operations. "May I speak with you?" she asked hesitantly. Captain Day nodded, stepping aside from his team. "We severely misunderstood your species," she admitted. Her normal scientific arrogance was gone, replaced with genuine curiosity. "Our data suggested tool use, but not this level of strategic thinking and cooperation." Captain Day smiled. "That's because you studied our predators individually. You saw lions hunt and thought that was the extent of predatory behavior. You watched sharks swim and decided they were simple creatures." He gestured to his team working efficiently nearby. "But humans hunt in packs. We plan generationally. We learn constantly. We pass knowledge down and build upon it. My ancestors started with sticks and stones, and now we've mastered your ship's controls." Han tilted her head, considering his words. "A different kind of evolution than we expected." "Yes," Day agreed. "Earth didn't produce the strongest or fastest predators in the galaxy." He looked at the stars visible through the viewport. "It produced the most adaptable ones." 2 weeks later, the first official Federation embassy opened in Geneva. Representatives from all 17 systems attended the ceremony. Earth's wildlife had been safely returned to their natural habitats, with Federation tracking technology removed. Commander Take, now serving as Federation ambassador to Earth, addressed the gathered crowd. "Our first impression of Earth was incomplete," he admitted. We saw its wildlife and dismissed it. We noticed humans but failed to understand them. He turned to where Captain Day stood among Earth's representatives. The Federation has existed for 3,000 years. In that time, we have catalogued millions of species across hundreds of worlds. Never before have we encountered a species like humans. Captain Day stepped forward when invited to speak. Humans have always looked to the stars, he said. Now we join you among them. Not as specimens, but as equals. Later that evening, Captain Day stood on the embassy rooftop, looking at the night sky. Ambassador Take joined him. Your team is being honored by your governments, Take noted. You are heroes now. We just did what humans have always done, Day replied. Adapt and overcome. Take's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. The Federation is already rethinking its exploration protocols. No more collecting specimens without proper study of intelligent life forms. Good, Day nodded. Next time you might find something even more dangerous than us. Is there such a thing? Take asked with genuine curiosity. Day smiled. The universe is vast. That's why it's better we explore it together. Above them, the stars shone brightly, promising new adventures and challenges for humanity as they took their place among the galactic community, respected not for their claws or strength, but for their minds and adaptability. The end.